Welcome to the Dice Storm Gaming Podcast. I'm your host, Luke. Normally we have our host, Nick, with me, but he is off to the side in this little image right here. You can see he's painted. Oh, I know, he's actually building a Wraith Knight.
Shadow Realm.
Anyways, today we have our MVP, Thomas, who's been on so many shows that have not been able to be recorded because of technical issues. Technically, in a sense, this is your 5th show.
Basically, I'm your co-host.
You are, at this point, you're basically my co-host. You have surpassed Nick, unfortunately. And then with us, we have our guest, Emmy. Or Emmanuel, I should say properly. Anyways.
I go by many names.
He goes by many names. Okay, so really quickly, introduction, since this is the first time anyone has met me. I'm Luke. I play Warhammer for, 5 years now or something like that? Makes sense. Something like that.
Yeah, you start at the beginning of 8th.
Beginning of 8th.
3 years, no?
No, it's got to be more than that. I was playing before I met Ali.
Okay, but yeah.
Yeah,
No,
you started at the beginning of 8th.
Because I've only been in Montreal for like 4 or 5 years.
I think you must be.
The same thing with you. Like, you were coming at end of 7th.
Okay.
But at any rate, yeah, so I've been playing for I guess 4 years. Let's go 4 years. Let's be conservative. Let's say 4 years. Play mainly Custodes. First army was Imperial Guard, but they've been dropped. Big Imperial Fist fan. And yeah, not much to say. I like the color yellow because yellow is also gold, apparently. Emmy, what about you?
Hi, my name is Emmanuel. I've been collecting Warhammer since I was 13 years old. So,
for context, what is that?
Yes, that is 15 years.
So you are 27.
I'm 28, so
Oh,
16.
you're a baby. You're a baby.
Yeah.
No, apparently I can't do math because you were right with 15.
I was right?
Yeah,
Okay,
you were
okay.
right.
Well, I just had my birthday, so.
There we go. Yeah.
But yes, I
Birthday beats.
Don't you dare.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've been collecting Warhammer for what did I say? 16 years?
15.
15 years. 15 years. I collect Ultramarines. I collect Slanesh Demons, and more recently, I've started collecting Scions, a Scion army.
Imperial Navy.
Yes.
Imperial Navy goodness.
All the planes right before they got nerfed to all hell.
no.
But it's all good.
And what about you, Thomas? What about you?
So I've been playing since about midway through 7th edition.
Mm-hmm.
Which ironically for Tyranids was probably a very good edition for them.
The heyday, one could say.
Yeah, you spammed flying hive tyrants, up to 6 or
Yeah,
7.
up to 6. I remember those days.
Yeah, and Molochs and Lictors. That's pretty much what you would. Anyway, so and then I also dabbled into Chaos, and I have a very extensive Chaos army list and models, and I also play Genestealer Cult as well.
Awesome.
He's our resident Chaos expert.
You know what? That's you're more than me and Emmy. Let's put it that way.
Well, you guys play the good guys.
We're not
How many Chaos armies do you have?
Okay, well, Chaos in general.
That's what I mean.
And
you
then-
are the
yeah,
resident Chaos
yeah,
expert.
Yeah. I mean, I have Abaddon, and I don't even play Black Legion.
Thomas, you're talking to the guy who literally has Imperial Guard. Who had Imperial Guard, wants to build Catachan, has Custodes, has Black Templar, has Imperial Fist.
Yeah.
Want to do Death Guard? Not Death Guard, Death Watch. Like I am.
You see, you snuck it in.
I snuck it
Chaos.
in.
Chaos.
I don't like
it's-
Nurgle. Like, sue me. I don't like Nurgle. What do you want me to say? He's like, in my opinion, he's one of the least cool plague gods.
A lot of people are offended.
Oh yeah, 100%. Papa Nurgle. People like Papa Nurgle. Like, I'm not gonna start bashing Papa Nurgle.
Later today you're facing off against Death Guard.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm coming with a vengeance now.
Anyways,
Slowly.
Okay, well,
Slowly.
So you know what? You'll probably win too because my rolling is the worst. Anyways,
Well,
we're getting.
you got M on your team. Anyway,
what's our team name? Shit rollers?
that's for when we play orcs.
Yes,
Ah,
but that's
The three of us combined playing orcs.
No, apparently when I play orcs, I'm a god.
That is correct.
To be honest, I haven't.
terrifying to witness.
I have not seen that. So right now it's a myth.
Okay,
To me,
so,
it's a myth.
So our resident orc players, right, John and Andrew, they were like swearing by it. They said Stomp was terrible. Stomp was not worth trash. Nobody should ever play that model. And I was like, I'll do it. So then we played it was a 2,000 point game.
2,000 point game.
I only had the Stompa. Obviously, like, when you're kind of like just goofing around having fun, you don't care as much, right?
And to be clear, this is before the Codex, and so the Stampa was 1,000 points to field.
Was this an 8th edition?
This was an 8th edition game.
Oh, so
Yeah.
8th edition
So-
pre-Codex
Oh,
too.
yeah. Yeah.
Without a sliver of doubt, that Stompa won the game. There is
Absolutely.
there's no denying that.
I was on the receiving end of this Stampa, and it was terrifying. He rolled godlike for that game, and all the orc players that were in the shop at the time were blown away as to how well the Stampa was doing.
Oh my
It was incredible.
And like the worst part about that game, Thomas, like I don't know if you know how much you know about the Stampa, but the Stampa has a Gretchen inbuilt repair that at the time, since I never played orcs, I didn't know existed. And then like Andrew and John, they didn't read the entire data sheet, I guess, because the Stampa has that like giant profile just to the bottom.
Right.
And so we played that entire game without it self healing. Like it didn't, and it must have died turn 3 or 4.
I just managed to kill it.
Yeah, no, it was
Literally, like, just.
Oh my goodness! Look, we're getting off topic. As fun it is to talk about a Stampa, that's not what we're getting onto. But we are. That was the 8th edition. That was an edition where tabling your opponent meant victory.
Yeah.
That's true.
9th edition. That's no longer true. 9th edition is point wise. However, everyone can agree. 9th edition is very much. I do my thing. You do your thing. Whoever does their thing better wins, right? We can kind of agree on that. Obviously, there's counterplay. You know, there's like, I'm going to steal this objective from you, therefore sniping 15 primaries, or I'm going to deny the secondary for you. All these things come into play. I'm not trying to simplify competitive, but at the end of the day, it is kind of what it is.
Right.
Now, Nakmund, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. GW, please correct me if I'm wrong. Nakmund is a update. Is it a box set or I'm not super.
It's essentially
it's a book. It's a chapter approved book.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a chapter. It's a new chapter approved book for
Right.
the rules. So they, I guess it's I'll start it kind of thing. So for the last 2 years or year and a half that 9th edition has been out, we've been playing. If you've played competitive or match play, is the term that Games Workshop uses. You've been probably playing the tactical missions that the
the chapter approved books, like
chapter
where you pick your
approved, that's right, yeah.
secondaries and everything like that.
Yeah, so then you had your mission primaries and secondaries that you chose from, and you would play against your opponent. But one thing I noticed listening to other podcasts, specifically competitive based podcasts, was that a lot of times the players were very cagey. That's the term where it's you just park yourself.
You sure you don't mean castle-y?
Or castly, cagey was the same.
Okay, same thing. Okay.
Interchangeable. And the idea was, I'm just going to park myself here, maybe send one unit out to contest an objective, one unit that can definitely contest the objective and take it from my opponent, and slowly just play games like that. So it was very uninteractive.
Right.
Now with Nakmund, the way I feel they've built the missions is that scoring primary is important, obviously, but there's other parts of scoring the primary that forces now both players to be more interactive with each other, so that games actually feel like a warzone battle.
Right. Okay.
Cool. Like
so, you look like you have
tug of war.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to build on what Thomas said here, it's the changes in Nakmun has made it so that there are additional steps towards your primary objectives.
Right. And you were saying earlier that there's benefits to bringing more objectives secured than just the bare minimum.
Correct. So in a lot of the missions, not all of them, but in more of them now, there are like extra conditions that in the mission for you to get that CP, that your free CP each turn.
Yeah.
So you don't just get it every turn official. Like,
you don't just by being in command phase doesn't get you the command point anymore.
Exactly.
Right.
Which is very exciting in my opinion.
Well, I mean, it definitely swings the game towards players. They have to make more tactical decisions, right? Because at the end of the day, like that free command point, as some people can argue that it's useless, some people can argue it's absolutely vital. But at the end of the day, like it's 5 command points, right? And as a Custodians player, I will take those 5 command points whenever I can have them.
Yeah.
So forcing me to do other things 100% changes the game, changes how I'm going to play, and it's for the better, for a healthier gameplay, I would assume.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. And an additional thing as well is that the primaries have changed a bit in the Nakmun book.
Okay.
Where there are additional conditions in the primaries in order for you to actually gain the full 15 each turn.
Okay.
So so now you max out on the primaries. I think it's like 12 points per turn.
Yeah, it got changed for the latest.
So instead of 5 points per condition, it's 4 points.
Yeah.
On top of this like mini mission secondary,
Right.
which in the previous book, people either always took the mission secondary because it was super good, or never touched it because it was absolutely useless.
Yeah.
Now it's just like built into the primary, which is it adds a little more dynamic
Yeah.
to
Okay.
the.
So as somebody who doesn't know Nakmon, because I haven't looked into it very much, from what you guys are describing, am I right to assume that like the mission secondary is what I'm calling it the mission secondary, air quotes, is what allows you to complete the primaries.
Yes.
Without the mission secondary, so to speak,
Right. There's no
you're not
longer
scoring primaries.
exactly. There's no longer mission secondaries. It is like, let's say you have mission primary and then mission primary 0.5, right? And the 0.5 is the extra 3 points you can try to score to get a full turn of 15 points from the primary.
And Nick, as our big competitive person, I know you don't like it when I say that, but what's your opinion as somebody who wants to go play in tournaments and stuff? What's your feeling for these updates? You think, but you love it? Yeah.
I love it because anytime you force somebody to play more, like you take 8th edition competitive, you could have played a whole game without even rolling a dice
Okay.
and try to win a game,
Okay.
which sucks because then you never interact with someone.
Right. Well, like, okay, so I don't know if anyone heard what he said because of how the mics are set up, but basically he's saying that, like, in 8th edition, I know you said in current edition. Yeah, 8th edition, you could just basically roll a dice and never, ever interact with anyone else, which is, kind of a boring way to play. These new ways are really, really good. And I'm inclined to agree with him. I'm not a competitive player in that sense. I do build, what's the coin term that you used? Fluff, optimized fluff.
Yeah,
that's how I build that. That's how I
Luke
build
loves
that.
his optimized fluff. He
Yeah,
likes
yeah.
to play fluffy, but he also wants it to be good.
Yeah, it's my
He wants to
optimized
win
fluff.
no matter what.
So yeah, okay, cool. So that's good. I'm liking this progression. Now is Nakmund basically chapter approved, but just with this fancy name? Like, is this what the game is turning
it's like
into?
Octarius, right? So it's
So
the
it's a choice. It's a choice to play. You don't-
No, think of it
No,
like
it's chapter approved.
So it is.
Yeah,
It
it's-
is
yeah.
affecting.
Yeah.
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 Oh, it's seasonal, so it is
Yeah.
affecting match play.
Yes,
this is
100%.
the current match play.
Exactly.
the
For the
current
next
match
6 months, Nakmund is the official tournament rules
Okay.
if you're playing with GW rule
Okay.
set.
Okay.
And I personally think that the new rule set is actually really good.
It's
I think
well.
it's
It
very
sounds
good for
fun.
They
It sound-
yeah.
they changed some also of the secondaries within chapter approved
So-
that you could select as well,
Yeah.
which
I-
make them sorry
Yeah. No.
which make them a little more optimal, not optimal, but like they're better choices to choose from now.
Yeah.
Right, like a lot of-
made it more fair.
A lot of the witchcraft ones that like required psychic interrogation and some other ones, they've kind of tweaked them so that you might actually consider taking them now, because before there were so many conditions tied into it that it was very restrictive. But now they're saying, oh, you know what, this one, we're removing some of those restrictions. It's worth it for you to consider taking them.
Right.
So missions now will change on how they're played out because you have more options.
So to close this off, an interesting caveat, something that you said, Emmanuel. So there were certain back in the old chapter approves. There were certain mission secondaries were absolute, garbage in the sense that like not badly designed, but like just weren't worth taking. And there are certain mission X's were like a no-brainer, right?
Right.
Are the new I'll call them map objectives. That's what
Okay,
I'll call
yeah.
them. Are they? Do you think? I don't know if we've seen them or not, but like, are they balanced for each army, or some armies just gonna like if you roll a 4 for which mission you're playing, like Death Guard's gonna take it?
It's tough, right? Because it all depends on how you built your army.
Right.
And I don't think like there's always going to be a mission that will favor one army over another.
Right.
But I don't think that is a nature of the mission. I think that's just nature of the armies.
Okay.
I think,
Right?
but I think that's better for the game too, because a lot of times some armies just benefited, regardless of the map layout. Some armies would always have a better chance of winning.
Right.
Now it seems like, from what people are saying on the internet, is that some armies that struggled in certain missions are better in other missions, and so it seems
Right.
a little more balanced.
Okay. Well, like speaking of like more balanced and everything like that, like I appreciate that. You gotta be a more balanced list and everything like that. Balance list brings me into our next subject, which I wanted to bring up, which was anti-invulns. Anti-invulns are coming up left, right, and center.
Shout out to Steve, who hates
Oh,
that rule.
well, yeah. So now, me for one, like I like to cry about it. You know, as a Custodes player, Custodes love their invulns. You know, it's what makes them tanky, so to speak. Aside from the T5.
Most of my armies never had invuln, so I don't know what an invuln is.
But yeah, but you know, Tau have the ranged ones. Sure, it's one model, but like realistically, you know, it's pretty easy for them to get and everything like that. The Yin Karn has the anti-melee. We have Bellicor from old times that has it. And like honestly, with the way the game is going on, more and more armies are gonna get it. What do you guys feel like? Me, obviously, as a Custodes player, I'm disappointed I didn't get an anti-invuln. You could argue that there is the shield host that gives the relic that allows the anti-invuln versus characters, but that's not really the same thing in my mind. So as a Custodes player, I'm upset about it, but that's just like a personal vendetta I have. But like as a general for the game, what do you guys think?
So here's maybe an unpopular opinion.
Okay.
But I think it's great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Peanut galleries. And you know what? I'm gonna throw in my hat. I'm with you on that.
Ooh,
there we
it
go,
is
there
a
we go.
popular opinion.
Yeah,
Okay.
Well, I'm amongst Ted's crew, apparently.
Well, okay, so here's my thought. If you think of it almost like rock, paper, scissors,
Okay.
think of an invuln being your paper, okay?
Right.
And for the longest time, especially like in 8th edition, for example, there was nothing you could do about an invuln.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. No, I'm not gonna.
And
Yeah.
more and more units were getting invulns.
Okay.
And it just made it so hard to kill anything, right?
Right. Yeah.
And
the
so-
survivability of everything was through the roof. Yeah.
Exactly. And so with the introduction of some anti-invuln, you actually introduce scissors to your paper,
Okay.
right?
And I guess in your analogy, the rock isn't really relevant, but
well, the rock would be just like regular armor save or whatever else, right?
Sure.
And so it's like, sure, like having an armor save is great and all, but how is that ever going to compare to having an invuln?
Okay. Now, I'm not at all pretending like the amount of anti-invuln in the game currently and soon to be with the Ynnari release due to the time of filming. I'm not going to pretend like anti-invuln is accessible to literally everyone and it's like the end-all game changer. But like, you guys don't think that if there's too much of it, it's going to hurt certain armies like, you know, Custodes, Death Watch.
It's going to hurt Custodes the most by
yeah, no,
far.
they're gonna get hurt. They're gonna feel bad about it. But you know, like honestly, they're in such a good place right now.
But you see,
like-
that's a balance thing because certain other armies, like Gene Steel Cult, doesn't have access to ignoring an invuln, right?
Right.
So against Custodes, it's an uphill battle no matter what.
Sure, yeah, I'll give you that. 100%.
But then you have a centerpiece model like Bellicor, who, as of now, for Chaos Demons, is the only model that has an ignore invuln. He even with his swipe attack, he's only getting like I think 8 or 9 attacks at most.
yeah, but those aren't even anti-invuln. It's got to be the Pierce one.
It's-
Exactly,
yeah,
and it's
yeah.
the Pierce one. So even
That's
then with
a
the
6
Pierce
models max.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. So like, okay, now plot twist, or you know, like mindbender or whatever, however you want to call it. What would you got? I'm a part of this bandwagon. First of all, I personally think that every army should have at least access to one. We'll call them centerpiece model that can do it. You know,
Maybe not centerpiece model, but I think every army should have access to it.
Okay, so
Right.
now obviously the older armies like Space Marine, the General Space Marine Codex, Necrons, which honestly kind of hurts my soul to see that Necrons don't have anti-invuln with how their lore-wise are set up. And you know,
Yep.
like Custodes and all the other ones that I'm neglecting to mention. Like, so you guys are saying that at least one model in that army should gain it.
one model, maybe a once per game stratagem.
Yeah, like just a way to get it.
Yeah.
Like for me, like I could see like, you know, Trajan's a fucking, I'm sorry the language there. Trajan's an
It's the
absolute,
one. It's the one we're allowed
the
per
one we're allowed.
podcast. It's the one per
PG-13 baby.
Actually, I think I think in Canada we could swear a lot more.
Yeah, we can, but you know, like whatever. Anyways, you know, for Custodes, I would give it to Valerian, oddly enough, because his specialty weapon, the ignoring feel no pains, although really cool, super situational. But if you gave him uniquely the ignore invul, it's not broken. He's 130
But
points,
also,
I think.
what's the best?
He's already an auto take though.
Yeah, he
Right. So
really
making him harder
with the inbuilt.
Yeah.
You know, he's not Trajan auto take.
No, it's fine.
He's not Trajan auto take, but he's definitely he's worth bringing. He's very strong as he is.
But you see, like one of the issues some people have about these ignore invuls is the delivery method, right?
Yes.
Bellicor, you have to get him into combat. If you don't get him into combat, he's 380, 390 points of a paperweight until he gets into combat.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. So like by that logic,
Who is it within the Eldari that can do it? Is
the
that
Yunkarn?
The-
You the Incarn, and you can only take her in Yunari army.
So there you so sometimes even to get access to these ignore involves, there's restrictions to it in some way.
Right.
Now the only one that could be a threat, I think, is the Tau Hammerhead, but so far it doesn't seem like it's ripping armies
It's
apart.
Not
Like
that bad. The most dangerous anti-invuln for the Tau right now is the stratagem.
Yeah. That
Right.
stratagem
There's
is
the
scary.
stratagem. For those who don't know, there's a stratagem in the new Tau Codex, which you can effectively upgrade a single weapon of your choice. I think it's on a crisis suit, or there's
Yeah, I've heard about the
there are
crisis
certain,
blobs.
like-
or-
Just a battle suit.
Just a
but
battle
to the
suit?
Unit, I think.
Okay.
It's stupid, yeah.
Oh, not the unit. That'd be too much.
Yeah,
I think
no,
it's
crisis.
one.
Crisis.
I think
No,
it's
no, no,
one
no, no.
model.
It can't be a
Yeah.
unit. It has to be a
I
model
think
because
it's
then you have,
one weapon.
yeah, no, because then you'd have
Yeah.
no, you'd give it to the crisis suit blob with flamers and you just annihilate things.
Well, I don't know if a flamer is worthy of.
think about it: auto hitting, ignoring invuls.
-1.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean,
you,
at the
you
s-
want something with high AP.
Right.
and
Okay, but take it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Their plasma guns are ridiculous.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Sure. The plasma guns are
Yes.
ridiculous. Oh, look, now we're getting off subject.
But anyways, yes. So Tau right now have probably the best anti-invuln because A, it's ranged.
Yeah.
And B, you can pick. It doesn't.
Right.
It's not
Right.
reserved to just one unit.
But
Yeah.
I don't want to go too deep into this, but a lot of times the internet in general just freaks out about all that things.
100%.
Like, look, Space Marine
Hey, man,
Codex.
don't bash the internet. We're appealing to them right now, man.
No, but
like, hey, we gotta
the-
love them. We gotta caress them. You know.
But the
Like,
doomsday
that was creepy.
The doomsday effect of that people have, or the doomsday feeling that people have.
yeah.
When Space Marines and Necrons came out, no one had a problem. But then next codex was Death Guard, and everyone
Oh, yeah.
freaked out about Morty and how he's unkillable, and yet no one plays Morty in tournaments. Maybe in a friendly game, your buddy's
is
gonna bring Morty.
scary.
But like
Holy
that's
cow.
that's comparable to Nagash in AOS, right? Like I don't want to get into AOS too much, but like these centerpiece models in like friendly games, curb stomp, but in these competitive games, they don't. have the
They're not
same
worth
weight.
it.
They don't. have the
Magnus
same weight.
Magnus has access to every spell in the Thousand Suns Codex, but
Which is
no one-
basically every spell.
It's every spell.
Yeah.
Every spell. But no one brings him because he like his points to what he can do in a tournament scene. Again, this is now tournament talk. It's different. So it's not all doom and gloom. Yes, your centerpiece model that you have that has an invuln save and this and that might get nuked by a hammerhead. But that hammerhead is completely useless against devil guns.
Well, like interesting fact about the devil head. It's not even interesting. It's just like
Hammerhead?
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, the hammerhead. If that's not what I said, it's not even an interesting fact. It's just common sense to a certain degree. That thing is an overkill weapon. It's one shot.
Yeah.
It's one shot, and it's gonna obliterate something it kills. And you know what? Rule of three obliterates 3 things off the board. You're playing Crusher Stampede. Crusher Stampede is crying for days. I will give it to them. That is sad. You're playing Imperial Knights. You are getting ravaged off the board. Like there's no denying it that these hyper elite, like because Custodians are an elite army. These other ones are hyper elite armies. They're getting ravaged by these hammerheads. There's no denying that. But in a balanced, healthy army, what are they gonna do?
Yeah.
You know, like
I'm honestly not worried about Tyranids whatsoever because
No.
their codex is around the corner.
oh my goodness.
Oh, baby.
Oh, we're gonna-
blessed
we're gonna-
children,
we're
the
gonna-
star gods are on their
baby.
way.
Hey, that was a perfect segue, but like, man, we're not there yet.
We can just jump there.
Oh man. Oh well, like
This
first
segue's
of all,
too good.
yeah, segue was perfect, but you know what? Let's just beat a dead horse and move on to the next subject really quick. You know, and everyone knows, everyone heard you make the best segue we've ever seen. And that's saying something because like we have some pretty good segues every now and then.
Yes,
Yeah.
if we actually record them.
Yeah. Okay, so one.
Bada boom!
Bada boom, there we go. Okay, so next subject we want to get into really quickly is I'm noticing a lot of people are not aware of the difference between these things. We were talking about it earlier about matched play. Now, what does match play mean? Because if you look onto the main code, the main core rulebook, we got match play, we got narrative play, and we got open play.
Right.
Now, all three of these are drastically different, and we even have Crusade, which I'm not going to get into, but like we have even a fourth option. Simply put, like I'm going to give my like 2 cents about it, and then we can each go around the table. Narrative play, very straightforward, is basically match play with custom rules in the sense of it's like corn players will spawn units because they killed something. That's a narrative play rule. Open play is I want to play Warhammer. I don't care about rules. I want to bring Valerian. I want to bring Trajan. I want to bring Alea. I want to bring 3 shield captains.
Yeah,
I want to
exactly.
bring this. It's like, this is what I want to play. We're 2,000 points. You cool with that? And then, you open play game, not balanced. You're just there for something bad. You want to recreate Hell's Reach. Open play. That's not even narrative.
That'd be narrative, wouldn't it?
No, because
Spillover. It's
a
that-
spillover, sure, but like narrative has that structure that a lot of people are looking for when you're making a narrative game. But if you want to replicate, I'm specifically meaning replicate Hell's Reach. You want to have an accurate
Yeah, you're
thing.
just gonna have 5 Black Templar.
Yeah,
and,
like
that's it.
Grimaldus' squad is not buildable. I've tried it before. Like you can bring Grimaldus, you can bring an Emperor's Champion because that's essentially what his other blade friend is. You can bring an Ancient, that's the guy holding the banner. But then you have like 3 other guys who are they don't really fit. They don't really
And
fit
a
that
million
mold.
They could
orcs.
be veterans. You could make a veteran squad of 3.
Can you make 3? I always thought it was
they
4.
come in 2.
At any rate, I
See,
personally
you guys are
feel-
talking Chinese to me right
Yeah,
now
there we
because
go,
like
there we
this is
go.
Imperium cheese that I don't.
So I've always felt that if you want to remake Hell's Reach, it would be a more of an open play because then the whole Imperium side, they have Titans, they have oh my god, I can't think of their name, Steel Legion, they have the Black Templar, they have freaking Salamanders. at one
Salamanders
point.
show up at one point. Yeah.
So then, but like narrative is really like, let's play a game. Let's play a balanced game where we're gonna play a battle forged game, but the way we're gonna score, the way we're gonna do things is gonna be more fitting a story.
Right.
Now, I've talked a lot about this segment. What do you guys think? Like, what's your opinions on it?
Well, I think you're kind of mixing open play and narrative a lot.
Oh, really?
there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because open play doesn't necessarily follow story. Right?
That's fair. That's fair.
So narrative, although like GW has made their own system, which is the Crusade, which is I think very interesting but kind of clunky in some ways.
well, I mean, it was a tester, right? It was their
yeah.
first attempt at it.
Yeah,
so.
I think it's a good start.
Absolutely.
Some armies seem to have a lot more fluffy Crusade rules
look
fit
at the Custodians. They have an entire naming system, which
That-
is just
which
so
is
cool.
the Gene Stealer. I haven't even looked at the Gene Stealer cult one, but apparently Matt from Mini Wargaming thinks the Gene Stealer cult rules are by far some of the best Crusade rules.
I can believe it. Like, look. Here's a great example. Our buddy Seb brought this up. He said like,
Sebastian for short.
anyways, he brought it up. He said like when we first were learning about Crusade, he's like, oh yeah, my chapter master gets wounded, he gets put into a dreadnought. That wasn't an option. They added it in later. But
Right.
like that's kind of like where you're going with the clunkiness. Like it's a great idea, but it needs building. It needs structure.
It needs refinement, but you know what? I think it's a very good start. It's very interesting. It's just a lot of bookkeeping as it is right now.
Yeah.
But honestly, I think it's great. I'm really excited to start playing it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And like
Open play for me is more like exactly like you were saying. It doesn't even have to be Battleforged. You've got some models you want to play. You have an opponent you want to play against, and you just roll dice.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And like you can make scenarios if you want. But it's very
I think
loosey-goosey.
I'm gonna say open play is more like I only have 786 points worth of models.
yeah,
And you got 1,000 points. Let's just throw it down.
It's the perfect game mode for new players. For
Yeah.
one,
Yes.
it's the perfect game mode for new players. And I'd also say that open play, what's really fun is that you can do some really silly stuff. Like let's say
Yeah.
let's say
100%.
let's say you made a custom Space Marine chapter, and that custom Space Marine chapter, their whole gimmick is that they're dreadnoughts. They're all dreadnoughts. Like that is not a list you can build. That's
Right.
not something you do. But
That'd
in
be pretty
open
cool,
play,
actually.
you can bring 2,000 points of dreadnoughts, and if your opponent's okay with it, by all
And
means,
look,
Yeah.
again,
let's play dreadnoughts.
with my Chaos army, right? I have Abaddon. I don't play Black Legion. I prefer to play Alpha Legion when I'm not playing World Eaters. But guess what? Open play, I can bring all. Everyone's Alfarius. But that's the beauty of open play is I can bring all these models and we've played games sometimes of open play at TEDs where it's literally like just bring all your super powerful characters and we're gonna throw down.
Yeah.
No troop choices, no heavy support,
Only
anything that's a character, and we're just gonna have basically a WWE Royal Rumble.
Well, like
that was a lot of fun.
Well,
actually.
no, for real. But like, I think to close off this like whole like narrative versus open play versus match play. Like match play is your competitive game mode. Narrative is your we kind of went over it, but open play is perfect for what you and me want to do. Where we want to do our character rumble. Right, you know, like we're gonna bring equal amount of points.
No, my character rumble is completely legal.
Yeah, your character rumble is legal, but I can't do it. I can't make it character legal.
I think, but I think it's also.
Yeah, his list
I
is
have
ridiculous.
a 2,000 point. So actually, I have 2 character rumble lists. One is an Ultramarines one, which I believe has something like 13 characters in it. And completely legal.
Dear God.
And I have another completely legal.
Do they have invulns? Can I bring an ignores invuln to deal with it?
Do whatever you want, man. I would love to field it, honestly. But I have another, completely legal Imperial Guard list.
Okay.
With 19 characters.
Oh my God.
Imperial
for 2K.
Dude, that's like that's commissars.
So total
like,
useless, but it is fun. I just try to think of ways of how many characters can I possibly bring, and that is the best I can do.
So, you know, we're talking about all this open play. We're talking about silly things. You're bringing legal lists because you're an absolute mad lad.
Hero Hammer for the win.
I appreciate your mad lad nature. But you know that kind of brings me into like so like Thomas as a resident Tyranids player, what would be the optimal format to play Tyranids if you want to bring a lore accurate Tyranid tendril?
It would have to, so match play,
and I'm not talking about like in the millions, like obviously
Right.
we can't do that on the tabletop, but I mean like just like bringing what a Tyranid tendril would bring.
So honestly, it would be narrative in that sense because you can fudge some of the points cost if you need to, or the spawning from the Turvagon, which by the way, I hope I am praying to GW. I will give a kidney for the Turvagon to be actually playable.
Right.
But I do think for Tyranids, they are a great army to play narrative campaigns because if you think about it, first of all, in 40K, everyone is the ultimate bad guy.
There's no good guys. It's just levels of bad.
Right. Depending on what time of year their level of badness increases
because
or
like
decreases.
everyone likes to talk about like salamanders being like the good guys, and then they always seem to forget that like Vulcan torched some Eldar babies, you know?
Right.
Like
That's
like you know, and like it's like your levels
Wholesome
of good
facts.
awesome fact. I mean, but like it's like you know you're good to your faction, like all Space Marines at the end of the day, except for maybe Marines. Malevolent and some others. At the end of the day, they're there to protect humanity.
Right.
You know, like,
but
how they do it is different, right? Yeah, no, sure. The flesh bearers are known to do some bad shit, but at the end of the day, their goal is to protect humans.
Right.
Like that's what they're trying to do. They're not doing it very well, but they're trying.
You don't have to respect the humans to protect them.
Exactly.
There's
So
a distinction.
with Tyranids, it's I think narrative is, in order to get the true feel of what a Tyranid army is, narrative is the best option to play them.
Okay.
Because you could bring, obviously, whoever's setting up the narrative game
Right.
has to set up certain rules because it could get ridiculous with Tyranids.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. I completely agree with you as well.
But with Tyranids, I feel narrative works best because you could set up the proper Nidzilla if you want,
Right.
which is bring all the big monsters.
Yeah.
And that, to me, Tyranids in 7th edition was Nidzilla. Okay?
Well, here's the thing, too, with the Tyranids, is that there are so many levels of play with Tyranids that you can honestly just do, like, even before the Tyranids show up. you could play an incursion of Gene
Stealer
Stealer
Cult.
Cult.
Yeah.
Right, and then there are stages to a Tyranid invasion.
Yeah.
On the planet.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And so like you can play out those different stages.
Like it's I don't want to.
There's so much you can do with the Tyranid.
I don't want to say, but like Tyranids can be for a lot of narrative campaigns. If you're gonna do a campaign with your friends, Tyranids can be the ultimate bad guy.
Oh yeah, they can be the big bad.
Well, like they rally the troops, right? Like
Yeah.
like at the end of the day, Necrons are terrifying. You know, like Dark Eldar. You know, they're fucking shit up. In the second swear word, we're screwed. No more PG-13.
No,
rated R.
No, we're
rated R.
Rated R in the States.
Yeah.
We're PG-13
Yeah,
still in
let's
Canada.
go. In Quebec, we're not even 12 plus. Like we're not even there yet. You know, so like you know, like, but yeah, you're right. Like at the end of the day, like it's crazy to sound. Obviously, we're not talking like Emperor's Children or anything like that. But like Iron Warriors, you know, the more sane Chaos factions. Word bearers, even like you could, if the Tyranid threw. No, I do. I'm a bit of a lore junkie. I do think that if the Tyranid threat was large enough, Chaos could ally with people that they would never ally with, because it's like, look, we want.
It has happened before.
Yeah, but that's
hasn't
the
it?
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the thing.
Oh,
Like,
the Iron
like,
Wars.
like
Yeah, that's it.
Chaos. They're like, we want to do our thing, but if we're all dead, we can't do our thing.
Exactly.
You know, so it's like, it's the famous saying: the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Even
know,
the
it's
chaos,
also my
even the
enemy.
chaos
Yeah.
gods, the chaos gods
Yeah.
can't invade a planet if there's no humans on said
Exactly.
planet, because the Tyranids ate said humans.
Not just
right?
that. When you think about it as well, is that like chaos feeds off of the emotions and everything.
Yeah, and the hive mind.
projected
The hive mind doesn't do that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And as a result, the Tyranids consuming everyone and everything actually leaves chaos to starve.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right? And so there's actually a huge incentive for chaos to fight
Yeah.
Tyranids.
Yeah.
And like I think the only chaos god that can maybe get away with Tyranids doing their shit would be Nurgle. I think because he spreads his
I
plague,
disagree.
right? No, really? Oh, okay. 'cause he-
Tyranids.
really? Oh, yeah. Okay.
Because if everything needs to die,
if everything needs to die,
the
yeah,
only
yeah.
god that's gonna be pleased
Yeah.
is Khorne.
Right, but like, but Nurgle is spreading his plague. They're still biological, right?
Yeah,
like,
Yeah,
you
but
know,
but,
like,
Tyranids
but
are-
Tyranids have there's now, I don't know how much Codex lore compares to Black Library lore, but
it's pretty similar.
Tyranids have been able to adapt to Nurgle's plague,
To
whatever
Nurgle's plague, really.
Yeah.
whatever Nurgle's plague throws at them,
Yeah.
because again, that's the whole idea with Tyranids, is that they're quickly adaptable. On tabletop, GW has not been able to update them to make that. But
I
Because,
mean,
like-
but they'd be broken, right? You know.
Yeah.
The thing is with Nurgle's plague, it's not just a physical plague,
Yeah, it's
right?
whole
it's a
element-
plague of the
it's element-
soul.
yeah, it's
as
elemental.
well.
but Tyranids don't have souls.
No, but
it's
they
elemental.
kinda
You know?
do.
Yeah, they do. but-
Right?
The way the lore is written though is that like Tyranids just don't consume demons, because when demons die, there's
Okay.
nothing left to consume.
Unless you're
But-
Kronos.
Yeah, unless you're Kronos.
yeah, but again, so I think I feel
Yeah.
we've gotten a little off
Yeah, we're
topic.
getting a little off
But I think Tyranids play well into narrative, because
Yeah.
you could make them the big bad guy. You
Right.
could create rules
Right.
that there's endless spawning of
Yes,
gaunts
which
coming
is
at
cool.
you,
Which is-
waves, Starship Troopers.
Yeah,
Everyone's
absolutely.
seen that scene,
So
Yeah.
right?
we should.
Game over.
Yeah, we should clarify.
No, that's
'cause-
aliens.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
well,
And,
game
and
over
I'm
anyway.
surprised Lucas is lunging across the table at
I
that
mean, look,
one.
I love the movie, but like, I'm not gonna fault the guy for making a mistake. Come on, like, hey,
Appreciate
this is Warhammer. This is a game we're supposed to be having fun with.
Right.
There shouldn't be gatekeeping in Warhammer. You know
No,
what?
no.
People making
Yes,
mistakes.
I agree.
People making mistakes. That's fine. You painted an ultramarine wrong. Who cares? You know, we're supposed to be
No,
having
there
fun.
is no wrong way.
There's
you know?
no wrong
It's
way
like
to paint.
you
There's
do
no
whatever
wrong
you
way to
want.
paint.
Make
You
your
wanna,
own
like,
narrative.
It's your money you spent on the hobby.
But it's not even that. Like honestly, I don't get this gatekeeping, because there is gatekeeping in our community. It happens. You know,
yeah.
it's like and like, I'm sorry, but people who think that like crushing a newbie is not gatekeeping, they need to recheck their thing.
priorities.
Yeah, no, because like it's like if I will always remember this story, and I won't name anyone for the sake of privacy, but I always remember the first time I started playing, there was a new guy to you guys, who just kind of showed up. I was just building my first few armies. I had about 1,000 points because I jumped in pretty quickly, and I will always remember you, Emmanuel, and it was also Steve and I think Nick. All three of you said, "Don't play him, don't do it, because he will destroy you and you won't want to play the game." And you know, like, that's gatekeeping.
Yeah.
It is at the end of the day, and that's not what we want in our hobby.
it's a
We're here to have fun. In our specific case, we're here We're here to have some drinks. We're here to have a good time.
White Claw.
Yeah, well, whatever.
Brought to you by. I
What?
wish
Ah,
that'd be
man,
amazing.
White Claw sponsor us, please. Let's go.
Well, maybe Luke's can work in and
Oh
something
yeah,
like that.
yeah. There we go.
I have to talk to the corporate.
You just-
Only we knew the guy who owned it.
if only we knew the guy who owned an entire brewery.
Yeah.
But yeah, like there shouldn't be gatekeeping in Warhammer.
No.
God, a kid who shows up, he's 12 years old, he's into it. He says Gilliman could beat Jagged Icon. You know what? That kid's mine. That's okay.
So
That's fine.
I've had some experience with that because at Ted's Hobby Shop for
probably
a
could,
while.
too.
Get out.
At Ted's Hobby Shop for a while, which is where we mostly where we all met each other. To be honest, was at Ted's Hobby Shop in Point Claire Plaza, just off of Highway 20 and St. John's Boulevard.
Go check it out.
Pete, you owe us.
Yeah.
No, you owe us nothing. You're amazing.
So I used to teach on Saturdays beginner classes on how to play Warhammer to anyone who would come in, regardless of their age or anything like that. You wanted to learn how to play, I sat there with you with my armies. No Space Marines because I don't like Imperium. And I would teach them how to play the game.
Right.
And at some point, some of the kids eventually had learned enough that they had amassed about a 2,000 point army and they wanted to challenge me.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, cool.
Some of these kids were really dedicated into it and were
Great.
reading strategies online and how to play their army and stuff beyond what I was able to teach them.
Yeah.
And when they finally had amassed 2,000 points, they wanted to challenge me. I am by no means
Competitive.
like a super tactical player,
Yeah.
okay? I play to have fun. It's more to see you guys, to drink beer and unwind after a hard day's work.
Yeah.
So when these kids would come in and they would then say, I want you to bring Magnus. This is the 8th edition before COVID. They say, I want you to bring Magnus. I want to face off against Magnus. I would still hold back a bit because Magnus in 8th could do a lot.
Yeah. No, when you are better than your opponent, and especially if your opponent is new and they're getting into it, I feel that
There
you
was
have a responsibility to hold back a little bit.
Well,
Yeah.
not necessarily hold back, but make sure to have fun.
Yeah.
Don't give them the
Right.
win. Don't give them the win, but don't
I
don't
would-
be like, you can't do that because
Yeah.
I'm going to do this.
I would
forget
not
a stratagem or two.
I
You
would
know, stuff like
not.
that.
I would not. Especially if they were proud of okay.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let's talk about the first model syndrome that we've all experienced at Ted's.
Yeah.
You paint up a beautiful centerpiece model,
Yep.
and your opponent's like, "Heh, he's nuked," and then you're just
No,
like, "All
that's
right,
not,
like,
that's not fun. That's like whenever it's like it's like when you bring exactly like you're saying. You take this time, put this effort. You're like, hey guys, look at this awesome My great example is my custom kitten, my kitten model
Yes.
for Custodian's table.
Captain Kitten.
Captain Kitten. It's like if I brought him and then all of a sudden my first opponent was like, okay, my 6 eliminators are popping him off the board. At that point I'd be like, okay, well, I'm gonna go home. This wasn't really fun.
Yeah.
Sure, it's a part of the game, but like, why are you doing that?
Exactly.
It's
So-
like,
It's not necessarily that I would hold back, but it was just I wouldn't play the army to its full potential because
Right,
I didn't
right.
want to discourage someone
Right.
who's learning the game.
no, for sure.
If you've been playing the game for 2 years and now you really want to throw it down, fine. We'll throw it down,
We'll throw
and
it
it's
down, yeah.
and it's we'll see who gets the bigger smackdown. But
But there's still a level of respect as well for your opponent.
Of
right?
course.
And I think that's very important that
Of
you
course.
can't forget.
Yeah, it's like not even like a new person, like just like amongst veterans,
Yeah.
even it's like,
Oh,
oh man, dude,
absolutely. Amongst
it's
anyone.
like I haven't played Psychic in a while. I totally forgot about this
Yeah.
power. Do you mind if I redo it? It's like,
Absolutely.
and it's like
Yeah.
you don't have to say yes, and like
Yeah.
even contextually speaking, it might be wrong to say yes,
Yeah.
but like. Are you really gonna give a?
But
like,
even
you're playing a
even
game, it's all good.
even in competitive scenes, like I've heard recently a lot of podcasts about what happened in Las Vegas Open, where a lot of players would forget a psychic power, this or that could have won them the game. Their opponent was gracious enough to let them go through that with that power again. So it's not gatekeeping. Also, when your opponent makes a mistake and you're like, go ahead. Magic the Gathering. I don't know how many times I used to play with my friends. I'd forget to do a combo that
Yeah.
would have won me the game.
Sure.
Clearly, I'm losing now because I forgot the combo, but my friend would still let me because I built my deck to do this one combo.
Yeah, well, and this is me coming from a guy who like have a very big sports background. It's like, sure you win, sure you got gold medal, and like if we're talking Olympic levels, that's a different
Yeah.
story. But like, sure you win, but like, you will always know forever. It's like, did I really win?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
He made a silly mistake. And yeah, it's a part of the game. Yeah, you're throwing down cards. You gotta be ready. Bring your A game. I get it. I 100% get it. But if it's a mistake, if it's like this is a brand new rule, You know,
Right.
it's like
Yeah.
I just didn't think about doing it. Is it really a win? Is it really a win? Yeah, it is. It is a win. But
yes.
like, you know, like,
but it doesn't feel as good
doesn't
as
feel
if,
as good.
if both players have as much fun, an equal amount of fun. There's been games where I get tabled, but I made my opponent bleed. Okay,
Yeah.
there's been games where
Well,
it literally
oh
came
my
down
God.
to a dice roll to see if I caused more wounds to myself to contaminate an objective with Death Guard, and I just get it, and I still lost that game, but it's like I lost by only
Like,
1 point after that.
I mean,
it feels better than
going back to 8th edition, dude. I'm absolutely totally agreeing with you right now. Me and Emmanuel, our best games were games that were like skin tight. Like,
Yeah.
it's like I will always remember the famous one demonette. So give everyone context. We're playing 8th edition. This is back in the day when tabling your opponent won you the game.
Yeah.
Manuel had more points than I did, so he's winning right now. He has a singular demonette hiding behind a rock or whatever.
It was one unit actually.
It was a unit?
It was one unit.
Well,
yeah.
like at the end of the day, it was an entire Imperial Fist army.
No, it was your Imperial Guard actually.
It was my
You were
guard.
playing
Okay,
your
cool.
Imperial Guard.
So it was
Yeah.
my entire Imperial Guard army. I had no more LOS, so this is why I didn't win. But we had no more LOS, but it was my entire guard army. And for 2 turns, I crept towards you.
Oh, it was terrifying.
It was-
I remember because like he effectively tabled me at this point, and all I had left was a single unit.
Yeah.
And at this point, I thought I'm gonna lose. I'm so done for. But I'm ahead on the points, and so all I have to do is survive for one more turn.
Yeah.
And so I advance the ladies. They're hidden behind a bunch of crates and whatnot. But like literally a pincer movement of like Imperial forces are going around, and like I think you managed to see a couple of them and got a few shots off.
I just
maybe.
couldn't
But like
end
you
it. I
couldn't end it, and that was.
And you stole the game. And you
I
know
think
what?
by like a point. It
but
was
like-
like tight.
But like that for me is the best kind of game.
Yeah.
That's fun.
100%.
It's close. It was nerve wracking. We had to go to turn 5, and it wasn't we had to go to turn 5 because maybe you'll score more points than me. We had to go because this all came down to
the one dice
that
roll or the one advance or
Well,
whatever.
it's the advancing rolls, right? Like if my advance rolls were not high enough, which clearly they weren't, you know, it's like it would have made the entire difference.
And another thing as well that I think people should do more often is take unoptimized lists.
Yep. Yeah,
Right?
it's hard for me to say, but I agree with you. It's
Yeah, because honestly, if you play less optimized lists, it actually forces you to become a better player.
Yeah.
You become better at the game by playing less meta in a way.
Well, because you have to truly learn and adapt to the strategies. You have to make what you have work.
Well,
you almost,
if you make the job harder as it is, it forces you to not make mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like, look, Gene Stood called in 8th edition.
Ooh,
When they first came
unforgiving.
out, it scared everyone. I remember a game against Steve where he was breaking a sweat just because of how I was deep striking and forcing him.
Yeah.
Like, if you saw the map and like a time lapse, you would have seen him like kind of change his flank because I was coming from one side or threatening one side. But after, when they got nerfed and then the Space Marines got their 2.0 codex in 8th edition, like Gene Stood Cult was in a bad spot, but I still love playing that army. I still, to this day, think Aberrants are an underappreciated unit, and I still try to bring them in because because of what they can do, but also I see the potential of what they can do.
Okay.
And for all you Tyranid players out there that play, like not just with the what's the one without the line of sight?
The
Hive Guard.
Hive Guard.
Hive Guard.
Hive
Yeah.
Guard.
So for all the people who don't spam the Hive Guard and actually like play decently well for Tyranids, you guys are probably in for a really good treat.
Oh my
Yes.
Yeah, no, the next codex is gonna be crazy. Now, to end it off, we got a couple minutes left. Like, let's just, we're gonna get into our rambling section. We're just gonna talk about stuff like that, just
We've
random
been
stuff.
pretty rambly this
No, we've
time.
been,
Why?
we've been pretty rambly, but like this is where like segues are not needed. I'm just gonna shoot a subject and we're gonna talk about it. This is the big hype. Everyone's talking about it. Everyone's wondering. We're all curious. Imperium players want one back. Chaos players like, no, it's gonna be this next Primarch. Let's go.
Lay it on me, man.
Dude, honestly, like, I want Imperium back. I think I want Rogel Dorn back. I love everything about Dorn. He's not coming back next. There's no way he is. He doesn't benefit the story. I want him, though. Don't get me wrong. I think he's great. Next one back is going to be Angron. It's Angron who's coming back next.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
don't know.
I just think it's a little. I think it's a little easier for Games Workshop to model a demon Primarch than another generic look. Like
I don't disagree.
So I think just from a model standpoint, it's easier for them to throw a few wings, a few demon horns, paint them red, and there you go. You got your demon Primarch for World Eaters. I think if from a modeling perspective, because like Mortarion, they did a fantastic job.
Oh, did they? Ever?
Magnus,
they're knocking these big models out of the park.
Magnus, fantastic looking model. Gulliman is a beautiful model because especially with his like very ornate gold and blue armor and stuff like that. But again, this is from a modeling and a just a design perspective. Yeah. How much more different is, let's say, the Lion going to look than
See, the Lion isn't going to come.
No, I know, but I'm just throwing it out there though. Like the loyalist Primarchs. How much different can you make each one look compared to Gollum?
You can make them really different.
So you're talking.
I like to stir the pot, right?
Thomas, you're talking to the two like most knowledgeable lore guys at TEDS. You know, like me and Emmy, we're big old nerds on this.
Nerds.
Like, man, like honestly.
Actually.
Again, I play like 5 armies, so it's like
Thomas, we're gonna answer your question. Like, out of all the Primarchs, honestly, believe it or not, in my opinion, feel free to correct me on this, I think the Lion's the one that would be the hardest to change. Everyone else is super. Rogel Dorn's gone. We don't know what he's doing. We have no idea who's gonna come back. The Lion, we do know he's in some sort of stasis. We know that Corvus is.
He's a warp
bird.
Dude, he's a bird demon now.
He's gonna be spicy. He's actually the one I'm most looking for.
Oh, he's gonna be amazing. He's gonna be a loyalist.
You mean
demon.
Corax?
Corvus Corax, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know he had a first name. I thought it was just Corax.
No, it's Dude, he's gonna be a demon loyalist. It's gonna be so cool.
Oh, you know what? I want to take back what I said because I would like to see, let's say, if it's a loyalist Primarch, Layman Russ come back as like a bigger wolf.
He's coming back as. I'm sorry.
100%.
I'm sorry. We talked about this last time. It's one of two things. He's gonna come back Wolfen. He's gonna come back as Odin. It's one or the two. He right now.
Odin. Look, I get the Odin thing, but I think it's going to be too generic with the line. I think if he comes back Wolfen,
he's Thor right now. He's the executioner. He's the proud boy. He is out of the Primarchs. He's the Emperor's.
He's been in the warp for long enough that I think that he's going to be embracing his more mutated side.
Well, yeah,
just like
Corvus. If the warp worked backwards, where time in the warp was slower than time in real space, I think the Odin theory makes more sense because then he's been in the warp for 10,000 years. He comes back. It's been 100,000 years. He's a wise old man. He's lost an eye. He's got a staff and he likes ravens. Boom. There we go. We got Odin. But like no, the whole Wolfen. I think if we're gonna talk about it seriously, I think Corvus is gonna be a demon, a loyalist demon. I think Lehman is gonna be a loyalist demon, and maybe Jagged Eye because he's captured right now in the webway. He might come back some sort of like weird
space
elf kind of thing.
He's
gonna
be
be different.
I think.
Now the ones who are gonna remain relatively normal: Rogel Dorn, Vulcan, the Lion, and I know I'm missing somebody. But
Vulcan could be a little messed up.
Vulcan's gonna be psycho. He's absolutely gonna be psycho.
Ferris
is dead. Ferris has had his head cut off, and I personally, as like all the lore I've looked into, even if it is true, I don't like the tacked on. He's the Legion of the Damned Primarch. I don't like that lore. I think it's silly. I think it's not fun.
But to come back to the subject at hand, I think it might be Fulgrim next.
You think Fulgrim? Oh, okay.
Because they've been teasing him for
thought
far longer.
If you look in the 8th edition codex, there's more mentions of Fulgrim in there than there have been.
I mean, and if you want to look at
explicit,
if you want to look at the Siege of Terra books, which are kind of like the Black Library lore pilot right now, there definitely is more emphasis on Fulgrim than Angron. Angron's in it. He's talking about it. He's a demon primal. We all know it, but there is more emphasis on Fulgrim. I think the only downside to Fulgrim, not downside, it's just the only thing playing against him. There's more World Eater players. I think they're
No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
You're not, but like,
And like World Eaters are gonna get their time in the sun. The
Yeah.
Emperor's Children are also gonna get their time in the sun. And you're as far as like sales go, you're 100% right. But as far as the story goes, I think Fulgrim makes sense.
Well, Fulgrim's the one who put
He's the
Gilliman,
one that put Gilliman
on
in the. Yeah.
It makes sense. It makes sense bringing
in the
Fulgrim.
mini golden toilet.
But now
mini
here's the thing.
golden toilet.
Here's the
Exactly.
thing, right? Here's the thing. So we know a Jagged Icon can beat a. Sorry for spoilers, people don't know. We know a Jagged Icon can beat a Demon Mortarion. We know he can. He's done it. He got banged up to hell and back, but he beat Mortarion when it came to being tough. Like, I know that sounds weird. Go read
Siege of Terra?
Go read the Siege of Terra, Warhawk, but he beat Mortarion at just being strictly tough. We know Gilliman can take on Mortarion. He's done it multiple times.
Well, he had a little help.
He
at
had
the
some
end,
help, but he held his own at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And like, people hate it, and I'm a big fanboy, so I'll be careful with what I say right now. But officially, Rogel Dorn dueled Fulgrim and didn't lose. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna say he won. I'm not gonna say it, but he did duel Fulgrim, the duelist Primarch,
yeah.
and didn't lose. You have to take that into account.
Yeah.
You-
Yeah, that's fair. And you know what? And like, I didn't believe you when you said Rogel Dorn was like a master swordsman, but after finding out that his title previously to being
The
the Praetorian was the Emperor's Champion.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what?
So,
Fair enough.
I'm so mad at myself for not remembering where I read that, but I know I read that somewhere, and that was his thing. He was the Emperor's Champion, and like, look, I'm gonna throw this out there. We're talking about it. I have to say it. Space Marines are based off of their gene fathers. They're based
Yeah,
off of it.
yeah.
And look at Dante. He is arguably one of the best warriors the Imperium has ever seen. Like, warriors. I'm not talking duelists. I'm talking warriors. He's one of the best warriors that Imperium has ever seen. Sanguinius was the strongest of the Primarchs in not necessarily dueling, but just what he was able to do.
Catoscarius.
I'm sorry, but Sigismund was the best duelist the Imperium has ever seen in terms of Astartes. Who's his gene father? Rogel Dorn. Rogel Dorn, like, Valrak's gonna be praising me right now. He's gonna send me an email saying we should chat. And I know he will.
Are you sure?
Gilliman, not Gilliman. Rogel Dorn has the highest official kill count of enemy Primarchs. Oh, enemy of Chaos Primarchs, I should say.
No. This is me gonna be stirring the pot.
Go for it.
I think the Alpha Legion and Alfarius are the best in terms because they've probably infiltrated all the other
It's funny you say that.
legions
It's
and
funny
our
you say
chapters.
It's funny you say that because this is my closing. This is what I want to talk about. So here we go. Alfarius, we know Rogel Dorn states that he knows he killed Alfarius. He feels it in his bones.
He killed a
What?
Alfarius.
I got a theory. I got a theory here. This is my theory. I haven't read this anywhere, and so I'm the first to say this. So Rogel Dorn states in the book that he killed Alfarius. He knows he killed his brother. Now, here's the thing. Alfarius is about the same size as all of his other Space Marines, and if you count Omegon, that is 21 Primarchs, including the 2 that disappeared. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't follow lore. We know that there's 20. Here's the thing, man. Here's my theory. We're getting there. So Omegon, non-official Primarch. Every Primarch has a Primarch power. Rogel Dorn's immune to chaos. Angron could heal people. Gilman has the brain of a calculator, and like, I know that sounds a little weird, but like, he has a thing.
Yeah,
for
it's a tactical acumen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think Alfarius's power is he picks an Omegon. There is a Space Marine in his chapter, his gene seed, who becomes the Omegon, and when the Alfarius dies,
His consciousness,
his soul, his everything is reincarnated into this new Omegon.
But there are 2 Primarchs
but that's
in their thing.
But
right?
that's the theory that we've discussed is that there always has to be 2.
There always
An
has to be
Alfarius
2.
and Omegon.
So,
But Alfarius picks an Omegon who becomes as like a backup in case he dies.
his power is to create an Omegon.
I see. So the fact that like Gilliman killed one of the Alpha Legion Primarchs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you think that was Omegon and that he just created another one.
Yeah.
That or he actually killed Alpharius, but Alpharius' consciousness is
Went
then
to the
transferred
other
into
So-
Omegon.
So the theory goes, simply put, that if this theory would be correct, to kill Alpharius, you would have to kill Omegon first, and then kill Alpharius. That's how this theory goes.
Interesting.
And I mean, like, honestly, there's weirder shit in Warhammer, and I love it. I think it's so cool, this
That's
idea that, because like they're all Alpharius, right? And that fits this thematic of, it's like, we're all Alpharius. You're different because you will be me.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, am I right? Am I wrong? I want to be right.
I think that there are 3.
Ooh, okay.
Oh,
Okay.
Throwing some spice
My
into
God,
this.
yeah,
All right,
spice
all right,
into
all
those
right,
spice.
I'm all ears. Here,
Let's go.
Well, if you look at their emblem, the Hydra,
Ooh, he's
it does not
wrong.
have 2 heads.
No,
He
it's
has
got multiple.
3.
It has 3.
So, I see what you're saying. So the Alpharius and the Omegon are faces. They're not the Hydra.
Well, yeah, basically. And so, what if there weren't just 2 Primarchs? What if they had 3 Primarchs, and the third one they kept secret? Period.
Like,
And
even-
he's actually
And
Alpharius.
he's
so-
actually
and
Alpharius
so-
going out doing.
and the
his
one
thing.
and the one saying he's Alpharius and the other one saying Omegon are just the fake, like a fake face.
Yeah.
Well, not necessarily fake. I don't think they were fake per se. I
But-
just think that
So-
they were like the front runners,
right
while we have the third one
behind
which-
the
behind-
shadow puppet master.
exactly.
You know.
So he went like deep dive.
I like that your
undercover.
theory is a lot better. I feel your theory is a lot better than my theory, and I play Alpha Legion.
See,
Honestly, I really like Alpha Legion. If I knew any better, I would have collected Alpha Legion.
So what's interesting about your theory
Legion.
though, about your theory though, is that this would have to imply that the third Alpharius, or whatever you want to call him, is unknown to the Emperor. It would imply that because the 20 Primarchs are known because the Emperor has talked about his 20 sons. He's mentioned it in certain times.
I mean, it's possible that.
He also didn't know where they got swooped up to after they got
Well,
sucked
not
out of there.
necessarily. It's possible that he also wants to keep it secret.
Oh, interesting. He brought it to his grave.
So I'm not
Yeah.
done. I'm not done reading the Alpharius Primarch book, but there's some spicy.
Because I haven't
Shake-
even read that. I'm just coming out with
But
this.
there's some spicy shakeups in that Alpharius Primarch book for the
Okay.
Horse Heresy where, okay, this is big spoiler alert here. In the lore and the Codex lore for Chaos Marines, Alpharius and I think other things, Alpharius is the last Primarch to be discovered. But according to this book about the Alpha Legion and its Primarch, Alpharius is the second Primarch to be discovered. He was there for all the other discoveries of the Primarchs except for Angron. So this puts into a thing that maybe there is, like
So
Em
that's,
was saying,
you're
like
reading the Alpharius book, you're saying,
Yes.
that, right? So is the Alpharius book the book where Valdor duels Alpharius?
yeah, and Alpharius is not wearing any power armor, and he's
man.
equally matched.
Look, man, this is why GW needs quality control.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
But he duels, but he never literally tried. They never tried to kill each other.
No, for sure.
I
For
think-
sure. When you're fighting less
Yeah.
than lethal, there's tons of examples of when you're trying to kill somebody, you don't pull certain techniques because they would kill said
Yeah.
person. So, yeah, but like at the same time, like I mean, like I'm not saying Constantine Valdor should have won, but like power armor versus like not power armor. Yeah, he's a Primarch.
But
the Emperor-
Constantine Valdor scares Primarchs.
he Constantine Valdor is the greatest combatant, non-Primarch
Yeah.
combatant the Imperium's ever seen. Additionally, he is the only Primarch. He's the only person in the entire universe, bar the Emperor naturally and Malkador, that the Primarchs have openly said like they've questioned their ability to beat him.
And you know what? I'm not fully through the book, but one thing though is that it seems like Alpharius from the start is he doesn't worship the Emperor like maybe some of the
Well,
other Primarchs do.
right.
He doesn't even see him like necessarily a father. He sees him more as like a mentor.
Well, the thing is,
So-
the books, the Suits of Terror books are really going into like how Alpharius is actually trying to help the Imperium. He wants the Imperium to survive,
Right.
And I guess that kind of pulls into the, ooh, what are we doing? You know.
But that's
like,
it. It's more like for a complicated but easier way to kind of describe it. It seems like Alfarius is a double agent within a double agency fighting against another double agency. Like you don't know how much of a double agent he is.
Right.
So it's interesting. I just found it spicy that he
Okay.
was there for the other Primarchs.
Now,
you know.
Now to close it off, because I just want to bring it up and I want to stir the pot, and I love these little things that people are posting on Facebook and stuff like that, because they're totally, a lot of them are nonsensical, like 1v1s, but like let's just say so we know for a fact that Rogel Dorn thinks he can take on 3 custodians by himself. He thinks he can, you know, like whatever. And we know for a fact that Gilliman, he's not like he's a great swordsman. He's written in the books to fight fight demon Primarchs and stuff like that, right? Now, if we're going off the logic that I am correct that Rogel Dorn is a great duelist, if they would ever be to duel, and we're talking lethal here. We're talking lethal dueling. Yeah. Who's taking it? Rogel Dorn or Gilliman?
Oh, that's a tough one. I guess it depends. Depends on 2 factors. If it were just like a straight up fight, I think Rogel Dorn would probably take Gilliman. Okay. Honestly.
Can I just flip a coin and that's my answer?
Yeah.
I don't know the difference between the two.
That's fair.
I think it ultimately depends on whose fight is it.
Oh, okay.
Right. Who sets the scene? Whose terms are you fighting on?
Right.
Okay. Because if you're fighting on Gilliman's terms, you're screwed.
Oh, 100%.
Doesn't matter what you're doing.
I think Luke's question maybe fits more into a vacuum. Like you're just throwing them into a
but
gladiator ring,
M is super relevant though, because like in a vacuum, I think we both kind of agree, Rogel Dorn's taking it.
I'd say
he's known to be a better fighter in the long term, right?
Imperium are goody two shoes. I like playing bad guy.
I think
if it's not a bad guy in the fight, I think
the Iron Cage is a perfect example of Rogel Dorn can get baited. He can get too passionate about something. He can be forced into a situation that doesn't favor him. And you know what? Gilliman in no holds bars trying to kill each other, assuming that it has to end in a duel and it can't just be like nuke from orbit. Gilliman's gonna abuse that. He's gonna abuse that, and he might abuse the passion of his brother, his Templar brother. I'm sorry, the Black Templar existed before like the 41st millennia. Rogel Dorn has passion. He has a burning passion that can be abused.
So I think if it came to like so here's the thing. I think it would be a tight fight regardless.
Yeah, it's not a 10 out of 10. No way.
But I do believe that Gilliman would eke it out.
Yep.
Given enough time and given the right circumstances.
I think if we're gonna do 10 fights, not in a vacuum, you know, I think 6 out of 10 times it goes to Gilliman. I really do, and I love Dorn. I love Dorn.
Yeah,
but that's a really tough call, though. Really,
I really think it is.
I like these questions because it amongst nerds, this is a great way to like have that conversation, but it's along the lines like who's gonna win, a shark or a lion? You know?
It's like we're talking about in the water or on the land.
Exactly. So I always love these questions because it's like so many factors.
Is it a land shark?
Oh my god!
Or a sea lion?
So anyways, so that was our podcast, everyone. Thanks for watching. Remember to follow us on our social media, and we have a Patreon if ever you're interested. We'll be back next week with a whole other podcast about something else. And remember, this is an open disclaimer. We are not experts. We love the lore. We love talking about it. We love the game. None of us are competitive ITC players. None of us are lore masters hired by GW. We're just passionate and we want people to enjoy
Nick is the only competitive player who's played in one tournament.
Yeah, but I mean, he doesn't
once.
Yeah, but I'm saying we're not ITC players.
We're not. And like if we've done anything wrong, or if you guys have any comments, I mean, by
please,
all means,
comments,
just leave them.
Tell us why Rogel Dorn would beat Gilliman. Like, I'm not even mad. Tell me why I'm absolutely wrong. And Rogel
please
Dorn
confirm
wins.
that Gilliman will reign supreme.
Please let this be the question
2.0.
Please let this be the question that blows up the internet. Rogel Dorn versus Gilliman.
Let's go. Anyways, thanks again. Have a
Take
good
care,
one.
everyone.
Good night, guys.
Right.
I need to pee so bad.
Same here.
Oh my god.